Hi guys! I saw a comment asking about my reading journal. I do my journaling all on my iPad on an app called Goodnotes, and so I figured that I would do a tutorial and also a general tour of my entire reading journal. I'm going to be showing me talking and me walking you through it, while also showing a screen recording of the actual journal itself, just so you can get a close-up image of it. I don't want the glare of the screen to be showing and getting in the way. I'm going to start the screen recording now. Starting from the very cover, I have the title, I have this little like decoration, and then I have my handle down here, and then right here is where I just have like a little note, subscribe. I can zoom into it. It's just when I started the journal. So everything that you see that I'm going to be showing in this video, I did myself. I didn't use any pre-made pictures or doodles or anything like that. Everything that's drawn, I drew. Everything that's written is from one of the fonts that was in here, so nothing is from anything other than myself and the Goodnotes app. So you don't have to buy anything from like an Etsy shop or something like that to be able to recreate what I did. So just going off the first cover, that's what you see. Second page is the index, and so I made this so that I could be able to bounce around without having to flip through the entire page, flip through the entire reading journal. So from the start, we have index. I have all of the months on the edge. That was horrible. I have all of the months here, and you can see that these two, the first two, January and February, are actually a different color, and that's because I've hyperlinked them. So I'll get into a tutorial about how to do that, but basically if I were to get out of this little laser, oh, it's my cat. If I were to get out of like the laser tool and just individually click it, it would jump me to that specific section, and I'll show that in a second. But I have January, which is hyperlinked, February as well. The book titles of the books that I've read in those months are also hyperlinked, and those will be taking me to the page of that whole spread. Along the edge, which these are also hyperlinked, and they're like the tabs that you'd get on the side of a reading journal or of a planner or anything like that, we have the bookshelf, the books that I've read, a TBR list, the 5-star books that I've read, the tally of all the genres because I want to keep track of it. I think that's fun. We have my reading goal spread, an A to Z challenge, and then the blanks, which are basically the templates that I use that I'm going to keep needing to copy and paste. So I just left 2 blanks of what I use, just so I don't have to like reformat anything. Okay, going to the next page. We have the super common, super famous, in my opinion, for reading journals, super common to have this library bookshelf kind of look. So up here you can see that I have already written down the 2 books that I put in my journal thus far. I have more to update, which I'm going to be doing in this video as well, to kind of give you an idea of how easy this interface is, how easy this app is to use. But again, everything that's in here I did myself. So when it comes to like the books, the color of everything, the little doodles, I did everything. So I can give individual tutorials about everything specific. I'm kind of just doing an overview today and the tutorial of how to do like the pages and stuff like that. But if you ever wanted a tutorial on like the individual doodling, I could always do that separately. But to give a close-up, I have this little frame that I drew with little hearts and stuff. I have this hanging plant, this little camera, this little like vase situation, and then this little potted plant. And I gave myself a lot of wiggle room, even though I'm definitely not going to read this many books, but I gave myself a lot of wiggle room just so it wouldn't mess it up if I ever needed more books. Next page, this is my books read page. It is, again, out of date. I have 2 more books to add to this. I've been really bad about my reading journal, but so we have the books read. I try to put, well, I'm going to continue putting the cover of the book in every single slot. And again, I gave myself plenty of room, even though I definitely won't be doing that just because life is crazy. But going along, I have my to be read. Now, this is not necessarily a TBR of like all the books that I want to read, all the books I have my eye on, all the books I'm gonna buy, none of that. These are actually the books that I already own, and I did that because I actually keep them in a shelf up there, and if I don't have them like right here, I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna want to pull them down because I'm 5'4" and that shelf is very high, and in order for me to get up there it requires me like getting a stool, yada yada. So I have this page, and the reason I have it is because I actually have hyperlinked to a website, not just linked within the actual reading journal itself, but I have linked to Goodreads. So if you click on here and if you were to click those hearts on each corner that you see, you would actually get sent to the summary in Goodreads and be able to get an idea of what the book is about without having to pull it out. And again, I just did that because I can't reach up there. So if I'm going up there, it's just to retrieve. It's not to be perusing around. So here I have my 5-star read section. Again, these little books, doodles, I did myself. Same thing with the shelving, the star, all of it. So it may seem pretty daunting and you may think that it would just be easier to get something off of Etsy or get any like these pre-made digital journals, and that is totally fine and cool if that's what you want to do. But I wanted something that was super customized. I didn't want to pay for something that I only was going to use half of the pre-made stuff, so I just made it myself. Going forward, so I have the books by genre section. So I have no idea why it's like red right there. Anyways, I only did the genres that I personally can see myself reading. So I have general fiction, romance, mystery, fantasy, thriller / horror, because I kind of put them in the same category, and fantasy / romance, which even though there are 2 other sections like up here, I did this together just because there are books where it's kind of hard for me to determine which I consider it more of, where both sides of fantasy or romance play such a big role that I just put it in one because it's kind of what I've been leaning towards recently. Now, here I just have my reading goal, which is 35. I have no idea if I'm going to hit that or not, but again, made the little squares. Now here's the A to Z challenge. So basically what you're going to do is have A through Z written down, and you're just going to be writing down, as you can see, what the first letter of the title is. You're going to be putting in that slot, and you're going to try to get it from A to Z. I'm not necessarily like specifically hunting for any of this stuff. I'm kind of just playing it by ear, and then maybe towards the end of the year, if I have a couple left, I'll be searching for those kind of books specifically. But right now, it's just kind of to see how many I can get without even trying. Now here is my specifically January section. So I have the January page to just kind of act as like a divider. This is the only book I read in January. Hidden Pictures. So this entire, everything you see written down is just stuff that I felt like would be important when it came to talking to you guys about it or talking to someone else about it. So book title, author, genre, pages, my rating, Goodreads rating, start date to end date, and the smut level. So, are the first main chunk. The reason I did that is pages and genre, I just feel like the first things that people ask, like, is it a big book and what's it about? My personal rating and Goodreads rating, I like to compare between the two to see if my rating was that far off from a bunch of other people. The start date to end date is one, to be able to categorize it in the right month, and to also say how quickly I was able to get through it. And then the smut level, I base that off of how often those kinds of scenes are brought up, the type of language that they're using, if it's, all right, well, they went and did this, or if it's describing every single action, every single moment, every single whatever. And I just do that not to rate like if I personally enjoyed the smut or not, but because I've seen that a lot of people are uncomfortable with smut, or they would prefer if it's only in a book that makes sense when it's get brought up, or they want a super smutty book just to start with. And so I felt like that's one of the main questions that people ask now, is if it's a romance or anything like that, if there's smut in it. So I thought I'd put it in just because I never want to be talking about a book and not bring up whether that kind of material is or is not in the book, because it's a very, very personal choice to take in content like that, whether it be reading or watching or whatever you're doing. I know that that is such a sensitive topic, and so I always want to be very clear on if it's in what I'm recommending or not. Anyways, so summary is just bullet points. Favorite quote, these are always quotes that make me laugh. So like this specifically is, do you have decaf? Yuck, no, never. That's just chemicals in a cup. Tonight we're drinking good old fashioned Folgers, which is hilarious to me. And so then likes slash dislikes, the reason that I would have rated the book, whatever I did, and then my favorite character. Going into this section, this is where I tend to have the most fun because I love using pictures that I get from Pinterest or pictures that I take of the text. Like this top right picture, I took a picture of the actual book and inserted it. I love these kinds of collages, and I love the collages that I do, mood board, inspo that I do at the end of each book, just because I feel like sometimes when you're describing a book to somebody, it's so hard to say what you want to say without giving anything away or saying anything too specific. And so I feel like when I give a set of pictures to somebody and say, it feels like this, they're able to get a full sense of it without feeling like I'm hinting at anything. And I try to not show anything that you'd be able to guess too much, I guess is what I would say. A lot of these things are things that you could have already guessed, things that are told very early on in the story, things that you could read literally from the back of the book, or again, things that aren't super big, but just enough to give like an overall vibe. Going forward, my February section, I did it Valentine's Day themed, and I actually showed a little bit of this in one of my previous videos. Okay, again, this is just another of the books I've read, another collage page, and then we're going on and it just continues. This is the book that I have to update most recently, and so I haven't filled anything out for this book. And then this is the blank pages, and now this is where I get to like the templates that I was talking about, the blanks. This is just a page that I leave empty on purpose so I can just keep copying and pasting it. So that is the end of the tour. Okay, now heading into the tutorial section. So briefly, I'm going to be describing and going over all of the tools that Goodnotes uses. So first off, I use Goodnotes on my iPad Air. Goodnotes 6 is the app that I use. I recently upgraded it just because I wanted that linking feature that wasn't in Goodnotes 5. So I did pay for Goodnotes. I think it has more than paid itself off because I use this in school as well. So I use this for in-class notes. I've downloaded ebooks to Goodnotes. I download when I want to edit my thumbnails. Instead of using the drawing tool on Canva, I'll import my thumbnail. Once I've done all of the editing, I'll import it into here and then draw on here. So I've used it a ton and it's been super, super helpful. I've told multiple people about this app, and so even Sam, I got Sam to not only use Goodnotes but buy a whole new iPad because of how obsessed with Goodnotes I was. I highly, highly recommend. Anyways, getting into like the basic talk, I suppose I'll go all the way out. So this is, I click on the Goodnotes app, this is where I'm at. So I have in this section a folder for my school stuff, a folder for YouTube, and a folder for like my miscellaneous whatever. When you hit new, you have all of these options. So notebook, study set, folder, image, scanning documents, taking a photo, importing something, or doing a quick note. I tend to stick around the top half of these options, but again, there's so many things that you can use this for. So when I was creating the folders, I just clicked the folder section. So going into, let's say, YouTube, I have other notebooks in here, so, and another folder. So you're able to really get organized, which I really, really like. So I have a folder with my thumbnails, a notebook with my thumbnails in it. So this has the first video I ever did, the second video, And that's all I've done. So you're able to see that. Oops. Thumbnails, and then obviously I'm going to show you my reading journal, and then banners. This is just me editing stuff for like that top section of YouTube. But going into reading journal, you click on that. Now you have all of these options. So while I'm explaining things, I'm going to be using this laser tool that's all the way in the corner. That's all the way in this corner. So I have the option between doing just this pointing guy or something that lasts longer. So that's what I'm going to be using and what I previously just used. So in, again, Goodnotes 6, I paid for this, whatever. I have this ruler option if you're doing like math stuff. This is something so that you can see like very specifically. This helps a lot when you're typing and like when you're trying to do like really fine details. So that's always helpful. I have a text option. So click anywhere, add a text. I have found this super helpful because there's so many fonts, so many sizes, so many ways to edit like the way that the paragraphs are, whatever. All the colors in the world. They're not only just these colors, there's this kind of customization, there's this kind of customization, and then there's the previous history. These are the presets that you can add. There's just so many different options when it comes to doing that. Pictures, this is where I import all of my pictures when I'm doing those like mood boards at the end of reading a book. This, you're actually able to do stickers. So let's say I were to take my writing tool, do a star. I could select this entire thing, add it as an element, and make it a sticker. So if I do a really, really cool heart or design or doodle or whatever, I can just make it into a sticker and never have to worry about copying and pasting it or saving it or trying to download it somehow. You just have it there as a sticker and you could use it as many times as you see fit. The selection tool, you're able to select this entire thing. So let's say I wanted to, let me just draw something so I don't mess up. So draw a heart. That's a terrible heart. But again, select, I'm able to move it. I'm able to resize it. I'm able to change the color. You know, there's just so many things you can do. And again, this is not a super in-depth tour. This is just kind of like the basic walkthrough of all the tools that I use and what's helped me. So you have, after the select, the lasso tool is what it's called. You have this, which is like the shaping. This is what makes you able to snap into specific shapes. I haven't found it too helpful when it's anything other than like a square or a circle or an oval. I haven't done anything like a heart or a star. Anything that's like past like a triangle, square, and a circle, I haven't found any help with it. But highlighting, you're able to just highlight. And then the thing I did right there is, oh, it left a mark. When I highlight or when you write or do anything, if you drag it out and hold it, it snaps into being straight, which is another super helpful thing. Eraser tool, these are all the different options. So however you want to erase something, whether it be the entire thing or just a very specific dot, whatever it is, you have all these options. And then you have, oops, all these options when it comes to the pen marker tool. So those are like the top, that top whole bar. This is just an undo. All the way on the left, there's just this undo, which I use all the time because I accidentally erase things all the time. Then here, there's an option to just straight up type into the document. There's a voice text option, and then here is where you add pages, save pages, like adding them to outlines and stuff, where I export things, and then all of the other options that you can see. So again, super customizable, which is why I like it so much, because I really can't think of anything else that I'd want. Oh, and another thing that I feel like I want to add quickly while I'm thinking about the colors and stuff. So later on, actually I'll show you. So right in here, when you hyperlink stuff, I'll actually show it. You can see it more. Yeah, here. When you link something, there is this dashed, oops. When you link something, there is this dash that comes. I have no idea how to get rid of it. I don't know if you can even get rid of it. I have no idea. But what I have found to do is, whether it be like this is just like a plain black that's surrounding this, that I easily be able to just take a black marker and, oops, take a black marker and color it in to hide it, to like save the aesthetics of it. But if it's not a specific color, like if it's not just black or just red, if it's like a random color that you picked or something that you can't find anymore, you can actually use this dropper tool and click any of these colors. And that's what I did for backgrounds. So in here, I needed the exact background of this picture. No, I needed this color, this exact beigey brown color, to be able to hide the dashed line that appeared. And so I used that dropper tool to get this exact match. So you won't be able to see it, but they're actually, I colored it in. But that's like the whole top section. Okay, so now I'm gonna go through each individual page and kind of give like a rough, really rough tutorial on how I did each specific thing. Again, if you want to see like an in-depth step-by-step process of something specific, you can always comment it and I could find a way or do a whole video making like another reading journal. I don't know. I just wanted to give like a brief because no one asked for anything super detailed or specific. What I have for first page, starting from the top, the reading journal, the words reading journal, I used a font from here, white font, whatever. This shadow effect that I use, that you can actually see, like, I don't want to move stuff, that you can see like the darker, the thing that makes it look kind of 3D. I actually I wrote reading journal. I used my lasso tool, so I'll just show. So let's say I write the word hi. I'll use a longer word actually. Hello. I have that word, hello. I can use my lasso tool to highlight the entire thing, select the entire thing, copy it, paste it. Now with that pasted one, I'll highlight it, or I'll lasso it, change the color to, let's say, white so you can see. Oh. Sometimes if they're too close together, you accidentally select them. So change this to black, change the color. I will bring it close to it so that it's kind of overlapping it, but just barely off. Click somewhere else. Actually, I'm gonna do it with the white so that the white is in front. And then while it's still highlighted, I'm just going to arrange and bring that white to the front to make sure it stays in the front. And then you get that 3D effect that you can see up there. I just did it with like a white and a brown. So I'll just delete these. And then you're able to select it and move it around as one piece. Delete that. Then I just underlined it with a regular marker, and then I used a highlighting tool to create that like double lined effect. So I just highlighted right underneath it. When it came to this drawing, I just drew it myself. The only thing that I added to it, other than like drawing it with a thick color and then drawing it again with a lighter color, is I have this like darkened effect, and I just get that from, if I were to, I have a setting where when I draw and hold, if I draw and hold anything, I have it that it fills the color. So if I were to draw a circle, hold it, do you see how it kind of changed color? It's because I have a setting to fill it with kind of like a highlighting effect So when I did this, I was able to do it that way. Yeah, so there's that. This, I don't know if you can see, but there's like a two-toned brown. The first page of this journal, the cover page of it, had that bottom brown strip, and then I just went in with a darker color to make it kind of like a two-toned situation. Okay, going forward. The top up here, I did this background just by taking a highlighter, I'll go to a darker color, drawing what I wanted to draw, filling it in, and then I took the lasso and stuck it, arranged it, sent it to the back. That's how I did that. Now, for the hyperlinking section, again, I only would have been able to do this because of upgrading it to Goodnotes 6. So if you don't have Goodnotes 6, I don't even think it's an option. That's why I upgraded it, I'm pretty sure. So when you are in the the text category, if you click, you're able to edit. So you click any of the stuff that you've previously typed, you just click it, swipe, you hit add link. So when you're in that add link section or the edit link page, there's link to, you could pick between a website or a document. So for all of the stuff on here, I did a document, but for later on, when I have it linking all the way to Goodreads, I picked website. So this document just means that you're inside like this whole journal. And then the page, you're able to click and pick a specific thing. So even though this is not what I'm going to do, let's say I'm going to use, I want page 5. I want the page with all of the empty books that I've read. I click that, right? I get out of it. Then when I am just clicking with my finger or your pencil, however, if you click on it, you can hit. So if you hit this, go to page, you get brought right to it. Now, if you're in this top setting, what I'm clicking back and forth between up here is editing versus like just looking at it. When you click at it through the when you're just looking at it, it just jumps you. Whereas if you're in it with like the editing, if you're in it with like the editing in the editing mode, you come up with options just because it's asking you what you want to do. But again, you'll just jump if you click it. So now I'm going to take that off because that's not what I want to link to. But to show, I'm going to again put it into that non-editing screen. All of the stuff that I have in that top right, not top right, everything that I have in that right side, that bookshelf, books read, TBR, blah, blah, blah. All of that is just a regular text that I resized and manipulated to be standing that way, drew a box around each individual one. These are all also hyperlinked. So bookshelf, the books read, TBR, my TBR. All of it is hyperlinked. And again, the way I showed you is how I did it for all of those. This section, again, it's just drawing by hand. Again, I could show a specific if you want me to teach you how to draw this stuff, but all of this was just me drawing. The books themselves was just me. Sorry, I'm not in a... The books themselves are just me literally drawing. And again, because I have that snap tool on, when you hold it, it makes a color. It did it. So I just did that a couple times, and I actually found like a shortcut with it is that if you can kind of see, the books are kind of repetitive, and that's because once I got like a general shape that I liked, like here, once I got this section down the way I liked it to look, I copied it and pasted it around and just added it. It's like, see? And like I changed some of them, but others, see, I kept the exact same. So again, there are a lot more loopholes with using this kind of software rather than doing like if I was writing it with a real reading journal, then I would just be, you know. So that's why I like it this way. The thing that I did with this books read section, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I did. Yeah, so I typed out books read just straight as it is. You can see that if I move this, it's still like intact. So I can move that to the side. This, oops. Nope. If I select this, I'm able to move this entire books read out of the way to show you. The little books read that I have written, I wrote by hand. They're actually sitting on this, I don't know if you can see, it's hard to see. Yeah, there you go, you could tell. And I have it like only colored in certain spots. I drew with that dropper tool. I was able to pick the right color to match this background, and I just colored in like a bar over the top of the books read. So I typed out books read, I drew a bar across, and then hand wrote across that bar that I did to create that effect. This is just me, like this edging to kind of block out the space is just me going like this and holding it to snap it into like straight lines. So that's all that is. It looks a lot more complicated and a lot more work than it actually is, because when you're using stuff like this, when you're using an iPad, Apple Pencil, whatever it is, the way that you're able to hold it and it snap to being straight and you being able to manipulate everything and move stuff around, it actually, you're able to do this whole thing a lot faster than if you're grabbing a real journal and you have a ruler out. So that's why I like this more. Again, I did the same things I said for the last one with this. You can see that each book cover is surrounded by like a black outline. I just drew a black outline. This, I actually drew this, and again, if you want to learn how that, I can show you later on, whatever. The star, I drew this dot effect that you see here, like all those polka dots. When you're writing and you're selecting like the different sizes, if you click on any of these, you're able to pick between solid, dashed, or dotted, and the thickness, and so I just picked dotted. Going forward, I did the outline with that same dotting effect. So again, that wasn't me doing individual dots, that was just me making a square. The genre tally total, all the genres are written down just in one of their fonts that they have. The little tallies are just me drawing in white, and then the different colors, like those little highlights, are me just using a highlighter in various colors. Reading goal, I drew that, I wrote that down. When it comes to filling in this situation, there is only one thing that I would say that Goodnotes doesn't have, and it's like a fill color option or fill the shape coloring option, if you could just like select it and color the whole thing. So I actually go and highlight this entire box. So if I was going to do book 6, I go through and I highlight the entire thing, trying not to like go outside of the edges. And then I lasso what I did, arrange, send to back. And it looks like I did it perfectly when I didn't. It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, arrow I drew and then use the lassoing arrange to send it behind the font. I wrote all those letters, regular font, and then just highlighting. With this, I did the exact same thing like I said before, where I did the two different, I copy and pasted the same word, changed the color, and then put them so that they looked like they were jumped. And then this is just me using the same tools that I've said before. This is me inserting pictures and me outlining them by drawing them. So again, this is so helpful and so easy and so user-friendly. And I just, more than anything else, I highly recommend using this if you already have an iPad or tablet and you have access or the ability to spend. I don't remember how much it was, honestly. It could have, I think there was a price increase recently, which is a bummer. I don't remember how much it was. I know when I originally got Goodnotes, it was only $10 and it was a one-time fee. Now, I think they brought it up to where it's like, there's a subscription or there's a one-time purchase, and I think it might be $30. I don't know. I know it's up there, but to me, like, when I bought this, like, this was $30. And it's a one-time use. One book. One journal. If I mess this up, I'm screwed. But, like, a subscription like this, yeah, there are free options, which I'm not saying this is the cheapest option. I love it. I think it's the best option because I really like the way that the app is. But if you don't want to pay, I am not telling you that you need to spend money on this. There are other things you can spend money on. There are free options. You can literally do this with any of the free apps. You just have to figure out how much you can edit with them all. Goodnotes is just my app of choice. I was gonna do a March spread with you guys, but this video is already getting kind of long and I have to edit it and post it by tomorrow. So I'm gonna stop it there. If there's anything that I didn't cover, if there's something that I blew through really quickly, again, I could always do a more in-depth tutorial. I might actually show me doing my March spread and like me updating my actual reading journal in a TikTok, or I might show it in my next vlog. I'm not sure, but yeah, I appreciate you watching. I hope I taught you something. I hope I made you want to do the digital reading journal. I totally recommend it with literally all my heart. I'm the kind of person that, I mean, I have a literal wall full of journals here, like, I dropped my Sudoku. I literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 journals. I've literally used this more than I've ever used a physical journal, and I love me the physical feeling. I love holding a book. I love holding a journal. I have a million and jillion art supplies to write and draw, and I just get overwhelmed by the fact that everything I do will be like permanent if I use the wrong color, if I accidentally cut something, if I change my mind halfway through a spread, because I change my mind a million times while doing these spreads. It will drive me nuts. If stuff doesn't match, it'll drive me nuts. If there's something like crossed out or whited out or misspelled, or if I use the wrong shade of blue, it'll just drive me nuts. And so rather than buying an expensive journal, convincing myself I'm going to use it, buying all the supplies, buying all the little cutouts and the double-sided glue tape and blah, I have all of that. Literally, I have a bin full of all of that stuff sitting, rotting, because I just can't bring myself to use it because of the fear that's killing me of messing up. But this reading journal, the Goodnotes app, doing it digitally, has made it so much easier. It's made me actually stick with it. I know it looks like I haven't, but I swear I am. I've just been busy. School has been crazy. I can't recommend it enough. If you have any more questions, please let me know in the comments and I will answer literally everything I can. But again, I'm not a tech guru. I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl that wants to draw little plants. That's all I want, you know? So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I converted you to a digital girly, and I'll see you in my next video.